The Maple Leafs fired general manager Dave Nonis and interim head coach Peter Horacek.
We need to have an incredibly resilient group of managers from top to bottom that are committed to doing this in Toronto.
Very proud, happy to introduce Mike as the 30th head coach in Toronto Maple Leafs history.
And in the end, we're not trying to create a playoff team. We're trying to create a team that knocks on the door year after year with cup potential. And so that's what we did in Detroit. That's what we're going to find a way to do here.
What a difference a year makes. Few teams in pro sports endured the transformation the Maple Leafs did over the last calendar year. So long, Randy Carlyle. Hello, Mike Babcock. Bye-bye, Phil Kessel. Nice to meet you, Mitch Marner. The Leafs are a team with an eye to the future, with plenty to prove and a starving fan base to satisfy. For more on the rebuild, here's Sean Lavery.
I want to thank Randy for all of his efforts, which were significant, and on behalf of the whole organization, wish him well going forward.
For the Toronto Maple Leafs, 2015 had a dramatic start with the firing of head coach Randy Carlyle on January 6th. With the record above 500 and just barely clinging on to a wildcard spot, general manager Dave Nonis cited inconsistency as a big factor into the decision. So, the job was left to Peter Horacek, and that's where it all fell apart. The Leafs won 9 games under Horacek, so both he and Nonis were fired less than 24 hours after season's end. Then, team president Brendan Shanahan kicked off one of the biggest off seasons in franchise history.
Very proud, very happy today. Happy to introduce Mike as the 30th head coach in Toronto Maple Leafs history. Thank you, Mike. Welcome. 16th general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Lou Lamoriello.
Hiring Mike Babcock as head coach and Lou Lamoriello as general manager were the headliners for Shanahan's overhaul of the Maple Leafs organization. There were several other front office changes that helped shift the culture and mindset of the Leafs. Now, it's all about patience and the process, which won't happen overnight. The Leafs rebuild could take a few years, and Mike Babcock has said he's ready for every single part of it.
I'm proud to be here today, and I look forward to the process, the battle, the pain, the fun, the journey. And it's going to be a long one, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
For now, Mike Babcock is on a long leash. Although the team's record is poor, that's what was expected of him. And that's really what 2015 was all about for these Maple Leafs, changing the culture, and at least for now, changing the expectations. From Toronto, I'm Sean Lavery.
Having Mike Babcock behind the bench improves the Maple Leafs in so many ways, one of which is his ability to cultivate and develop young talent, something the team has tremendous stock of. Marlies forward William Nylander leads the AHL scoring race, and Mitch Marner's heating up in the OHL. Bringing you the skinny on the future of the Leafs, here's Dalton Finkbeiner.
Over the last year, pessimism has turned to optimism when looking at the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs. With Mike Babcock as the new head coach, Lou Lamoriello in the front office, and the club's 2 top prospects making major strides in their development. 2014 first-round pick William Nylander is enjoying a great start to his first full pro season in North America. He's recorded 13 goals and 29 points in his first 22 games with the Toronto Marlies. Nylander had a strong training camp with the Maple Leafs, showing off his offensive flair. There's a lot of pressure being put on the 19-year-old to be the savior of the franchise, but he insists he doesn't let it get to him.
To me, it's just, I just try to focus on what I have to do. I don't really think about pressure of anybody else. I think the pressure that I put on myself is more than what other people put on me. So I think there's just focusing on what I have to do.
And then there's Mitch Marner. The 4th overall pick in 2015 put up 126 points in the OHL last season, and he's picked up where he left off, tallying 58 in his first 25 contests this year, earning a spot on Canada's national junior team for the upcoming World Junior Championships in Helsinki. Marner is an elite offensive talent, and his skills have been on full display this season.
Back to Marner, around one man, waits, shoots, there's the hat trick! Mitch Marner, 3 goals!
Toronto's looking to improve on their poor track record for developing prospects. Since 1996, Thomas Caberlet is the only player drafted by the Leafs who has represented them at the All-Star game. From Toronto, I'm Dalton Finkbeiner.
The Leafs are a team with a system now. Under Mike Babcock, they've made a concentrated effort to improve their possession game with promising early results. More on that, here's our Leafs panel.
Thanks, Carl. I'm Pat Gregoire, joined by Jake Lloyd and Matt Lewis. Guys, 2015, quite the emotional roller coaster ride for all Toronto Maple Leaf fans. And the peak of this coaster definitely was bringing in Mike Babcock to lead this team going forward. And I have to ask, is the Babcock effect in full effect in Toronto yet?
It's definitely coming into full effect. And the one word that really comes to mind when I think of Mike Babcock is efficiency. And we're really noticing it this year. They're coming out as a unit of 5 in the defensive zone, which makes it so much easier for them to get into the neutral zone, get in the attacking zone, and go on the forecheck, which we've seen this year has really helped them out in a lot of ways.
You talk about the neutral zone and the offensive zone. That's exactly what he's improved here. And it's helping the defensive zone because the Leafs are playing with the puck more this year. And their puck possession numbers have gone up. Their advanced stats numbers have gone up. And that's what they tried to do here when they brought in Mike Babcock. He's the perfect coach for this team, and he's improved this team already.
Lots to look forward to. You know, the farm system definitely stocked with some talent. You look at a guy like William Nylander, Mitch Marner. Who should Leaf fans really be excited about going forward?
I'm really excited to see a guy like Dmytro Timashov, a 5th-round pick that was considered a steal in the 2015 draft at 125th overall. He won the Rookie of the Year award in the QMJHL with 90 points, which is absolutely spectacular. And he's kind of that guy that really fits the Leafs' philosophy, a 5'10" guy, but he's really skilled, he's got great vision, and he has an excellent laser of a shot.
Well, Pat, I think it's actually Travis Dermott, the Leafs' 2nd-round pick from a year ago. Fantastic defenseman out of Erie, fits their blueprint extremely well, moves the puck extremely well, and also he can man the power play going forward, which is huge for this team. And this is exactly what Mark Hunter and Kyle Dubas looked for when they were drafting in the 2nd round. They wanted to find a 1st-rounder in the 2nd round. They got it.
No doubt the future is bright here in Toronto, and going forward in 2016, Leaf fans have a lot to look forward to. Back to you, Lance.
Before the start of the 2014-2015 season, the Toronto Raptors solidified their backcourt, signing fan favorite Kyle Lowry to a 4-year extension. The team followed up a 2nd straight Atlantic Division title with a disappointing postseason, paving the way for general manager Masai Ujiri to bolster the roster once again. Here to reflect on the year that was is CSM's Cam Durrett.
A Game 7 defeat 2 seasons ago left a revived Raptors fan base disappointed, but not discouraged. Expectations of the team were heightened and met. Toronto jumped out to a 13-2 record, and when DeMar DeRozan went down on November 28th with a groin injury, there were no excuses.
A guy stepped up, T-Raw stepped up, Graves stepped up. We've got to come out of the locker room with some type of intensity and some type of disposition to say, hey, not tonight.
Led by Kyle Lowry's first All-Star campaign, a 6th Man of the Year performance by Lou Williams, and the addition of Grievous Vasquez, Toronto captured the Atlantic Division for the 2nd straight year. Then, Washington happened.
Wall kicks out to Pierce, gets off the 3. What did you expect from the truth?
A year after ending Toronto's season, Paul Pierce struck again, this time in a Wizards uniform. As calls for Coach Dwayne Casey's job intensified, the level-headed Masai Ujiri stuck with his bench boss and his core players.
From Coach Casey to Kyle Lowry to DeMar to all these guys, they competed. You know, like they go out there and they leave it on the floor every single game.
That core grew when the Raptors let go of their offensive weapons in favor of shutdown defender Damari Carroll and rim protector Bismack Biyombo. Not to mention some Canadian content.
DeRozan pushed. Joseph in the corner for the win. Got it! Corey Joseph!
The new-look Toronto Raptors have been performing well, but the injury bug has struck again. With Damari Carroll and Jonas Valanciunas out indefinitely, more of the burden has been placed on DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. And while the two have been playing at an all-star level, individual accolades mean nothing without a deep playoff run. From Toronto, I'm Cameron Durrett.
Raptors fans are still getting used to the idea of Toronto being an annual playoff team. And this year looks no different as the club looks to improve on last season's 1st-round exit. For more, here's our Raptors panel.
Thanks. I'm Holly Nimmons here with Dale Manukduk and Saif Ahmed. Last season was the Raptors' 20th anniversary, a big year for franchise best, 49 wins and back-to-back Atlantic Division titles, but they couldn't hold things together in the playoffs. What happened for the Raptors to get swept by the Wizards in the 1st round of playoffs?
Well, Holly, Washington surprised the Raptors playing that small ball lineup for the first time. Paul Pierce was playing the 4, and the Raptors could not guard the 3-point line the whole series. And of course, Kyle Lowry, their all-star, was not 100%. He was hurt down the stretch with a back injury, and of course, he was forced out of Game 2 with a lower leg injury as well.
Shin contusion.
Yeah.
All right, and heading into the offseason, Dale, Raptors had to say goodbye to a lot of big names, Lou Williams, Grievous Vasquez, and fan favorite Amir Johnson. But they brought in a lot of new talent. Damari Carroll, Louis Scola, and Toronto native Corey Joseph. What do these players bring to the team that fans haven't seen in past seasons?
Well, Safe touched on it a little bit, right? And it's not just competing with Washington's small ball lineup. It's competing with every team in this league's small ball unit now. And the Raptors can do that. They can play Bismack Biyombo at the 5, Damari Carroll at the 4. They put out 3 guards in crunch time now with Corey Joseph, DeMar DeRozan, and Kyle Lowry. And I think that they can trade punches with just about any team in this league.
Well, it's definitely going to be an experiment, but the Raptors did start this season off 5-0, and things are looking up for them. But what can fans expect going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, the Raptors are still a bit inconsistent, trying to work out their new guys into the fold. They've had great wins on the road against the Clippers and against Oklahoma City, and of course, some tough, heartbreaking losses at home. So Dwayne Casey's still trying to find the right combo of players to go with his team. And of course, Jonas Valanciunas out several weeks. That kind of hinders their progress, but I think it'll take more time for this team to gel.
Don't sleep on that win against Cleveland either. That was big for this team. What I expect from the Toronto Raptors is to be right there in the mix come playoff time. I really hope that Kyle Lowry can stay healthy for the entire season because he really is the engine that makes this team go.
Lowry is having a standout season. For Dale Manukduk and Saif Ahmed, I'm Holly Nimmons. Back to you.
For the Toronto Rock, the 2015 season was an emotional roller coaster. 2 months before the start of the campaign, longstanding GM Terry Sanderson passed away. What transpired was a 2015 regular season that can only be described as inspirational. And it didn't end there. With the story, here's CSM's Ian Jodry.
The story of the 2015 Toronto Rock began in November of 2014. General manager and assistant coach Terry Sanderson took a leave of absence due to medical reasons on November 14th. As the team continued to prepare for the upcoming campaign, Sanderson passed away at age 62.
He's a big part of this organization. He's been a friend and mentor to not only coaches but players here, and so we'll think of him often and use his memory often.
Prior to his passing, Sanderson did his best to bolster the team defensively, adding Jeff Gilbert, Brock Sorensen, and Brody Merrill. However, fans were still concerned how the team would fare on offense. Perennial 100-point man Garrett Billings and second-time All-Scorer in league history Colin Doyle were both injured to start the year. The Rock opened their season in Rochester against the 3-time defending champion Nighthawks, where they eliminated any cause for concern.
Feeds it over to Barnes in the slot. The shot, he scored. Casey Barnes and the Rock take their first lead of the night, and it comes with 4:59 to go.
Toronto's hot start kept them atop the East with an incredible 9-1 start to the season. With the absence of Billings and Doyle, they looked to Brock Sorensen to generate some offense, and he wasted no time doing just that.
Goes all the way behind the back, he scores! Oh, a beauty from Brock Sorensen ties us at 2.
A 14-4 record gave the Rock a bye to the East Division Final. Facing elimination, they held off the Rochester Nighthawks comeback to force a 10-minute long deciding game. A 7-0 run to start it off sent the Rock to the 3rd Champions Cup appearance in 6 years. However, once again facing elimination, the Edmonton Rush scored the game-winning goal with 62 seconds left, ending the Rock's magical season. From Toronto, I'm Ian Jodry.
Next on 416 Rewind, Toronto FC make MLS history, the Argonauts obtain new ownership and a new home, and we discuss a Canadian race car driver's near-death experience.